Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bohemian Cauldron. I'm Dale, and I have with me Marika. No, we'll call her Marcia. And Rodella. I stir the pot. I just stir the pot.
Get to stirring.
All right.
Remember, I stir back.
All right. I hope so. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that has no controversy at all behind it. It's preference on tarot versus oracle cards, and our resident oracle reader, Rodella, I think she has something on her mind to say about this. Yes. You can say that louder, it's fine. Everybody knows this.
You start, and then I'll put my my feelings on in there.
Okay, well, let's see here. I have never personally done oracle cards. I have nothing against them per se. I just was handed a tarot deck, and I just went from there, and I've always enjoyed reading tarot, and it's fun, and the pictures are gorgeous, and I can always count on there being the same amount of cards in them every time, and I don't have to. It seems like a perfectly decent way to interact with. Let's see, I'm sure oracle cards are nice if you're into that sort of thing.
Oh. Oh, it starts already.
I have to get you talking somehow because you haven't said anything.
Okay.
I understand that there is kind of some sort of blood feud that goes on between oracle and tarot readers, and I'm sure, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm sure the Lemonade people view us both as idiots, but
I would say there's a lot of misconception about the differences between tarot and oracle.
Go on.
Oracle readers are made out to be skillless. In these articles, they're made out to be, it's easy because there's words on them. Doesn't really require skill, which I do not believe. And it's very frustrating. You would think we would all be in this together. And apparently, we have to pick sides over everything, so.
That seems weird that we have to pick sides. I've encountered a lot of readers who read anything they can get their hands on. I personally like a little rune casting along with my tarot, but that's not. What I don't understand is, for me personally, there are words on tarot cards. I don't
Correct.
You can read the tarot cards, and a lot of people, a lot of intuitives, use the pictures on the tarot cards to get a deeper understanding of what the card represents beyond the name of the card and possibilities of what it represents.
Tarot to me personally, is a little too structured. I don't do well with that much structure. I do much better when I actually look deep inside myself and listen to the messages I'm receiving. I do better when I feel there's more of an easy flow to it, and tarot for me is very difficult to understand sometimes.
So a decent way of putting it is that tarot itself is its own gatekeeper in the way that you feel that the cards are more restrictive for some reason?
Well, just the way it's structured from the Fool on up to the end, it's very, it goes by the story, and it's very, you have certain spreads you do, and I just, for whatever reason, have never been able to work with those. I don't know if I'm blocking myself. I don't know if that's just not meant for me to touch, but I do so much better with the Oracle cards. And that's the main difference, that I have found, is tarot is very structured and Oracle is very fluid. Not that tarot is not fluid, because I've watched you read. I know it is. It's just, I don't know, for some reason, Oracle's just much easier for me.
All right. Well, walk us through a typical Oracle deck. Tell me what would be, and if I'm to understand, there's no such thing as a typical Oracle deck per se, but give me a walkthrough on various cards that would be in an Oracle deck.
Oracle decks are different. They don't have the same amount of cards as tarot. It doesn't really work with any kind of system. I have a dragon deck. I have a fairy deck. I have, they all have beautiful artwork on them. And they do have some keywords. However, you still have to read the person in front of you and listen to the messages that you're receiving. It's not just, I read a word on a card, which is what most of the articles out there seem to say. The Oracle cards are, I always joke that they're a softer version of tarot, and I think that's why I enjoy them so much, along with the fact that it just flat out is much easier for me to receive the messages through those.
Do you think it's because you focus sometimes on, there's so much symbolism sometimes in one card of the tarot deck that, because I know when I look at them, sometimes I can almost get lost in the...
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, I have to be in the right state of mind to even look at them to do a reading.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can get lost in the symbolism and the art of them, because there's so many little nuances in each card. And I think the Oracle decks that I've looked at, I don't want to say it's a simplified, but I think it allows me to be intuitively more open at times, because I don't focus so much on so many different symbols in one card.
Mm-hmm.
I think most Oracle decks that I've looked at are more, they are to the point and more direct. And there is, like, some of the artists obviously have more symbolism in them, but a lot of them are, there's not so many things going on in one card.
Right. And that's why I work with them just so much better.
So I could see that, why.
Because I get lost and then I trip up myself and it's just too
You
much.
overthink it, maybe?
Yeah, most definitely.
So I think it's just a style of cognitive thinking that you have, that you do, That might be, maybe that's more why that's more of a gateway for you than it is for him. Just a different style.
Right.
I know when I read, I don't read per se. From what I'm gathering, that you're reading not the cards. You got to read the person.
Mm-hmm.
The person is the important factor in a type of reading done, whether it's an oracle or a tarot or a palm or a dream interpretation. You don't. I think. Yes, getting hung up too much on the cards and the meanings themselves would really trip you up. It's the flow. It's what each individual card could mean compared to another, to the card next to it. And the particular spread I use, and other than a random 3-card spread, is I use a triangle, and I use it this way to, show that everything in the spread is interconnected, because it all refers to one person, and that person's part in the great web. And so I can see where you're coming from by saying that oracle cards give you a little more freedom. But what I wonder, because I have never even opened up an oracle deck, is do oracle cards give you that same amount of freedom where you can use that to find out how one person intersects with another person and so forth?
Ask that again, you lost me.
Okay. So I am reading and I come across card temperance, and I need to remind a person that they need to stay calm. And then later on down the line, I will also come across the Knight of Wands in reverse, also letting me know that somewhere along the way you are going to be pissed off beyond all belief, and that you need to calm your ass down a bit. So I'm wondering, are there similarities in that type of reading that I would be able to pull off with an oracle deck?
Most definitely.
All right.
Most definitely. Like I said before, I always say that oracle is a nicer form of tarot. The messages do come across a little gentler to the person that I'm reading. But yes, there are cards in every deck that I have that would go right along with the ones that are in tarot. They're just worded differently, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Sometimes I can be distracted by some of the cards in the tarot deck, all the different symbolism, because I get so lost sometimes in that world trying to take it apart, even though like some of them are very obvious to me in general. But when, like you're saying, you're trying to lay a spread out and they all are intersected somehow, sometimes I think an oracle deck can just be, I don't want to say it can't be as deep because I think it can be, but especially depending on my mood because I'm a woman.
I did not say that.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not so distracted.
Exactly.
It's not so busy.
And the cards do, when I lay out a spread, they do fall right along the same lines of what the previous cards have said. You know, and all of my readings have been, I won't say they're easy to do because you still have to read the person in front of you, and sometimes the person in front of you is very hard to get a good read on, so you do have to work at it. But I agree that they're much easier. They have a picture on them, yes, and a word on them, but you can interpret that any way you need to. It doesn't just mean...
I think sometimes just the energy of certain cards are distracting to me from maybe the person. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost over... I don't want to say overbearing. I'm trying to find the word. But I also like to watch people, and it's an art. I like to watch people use a tarot deck and then finish it, or maybe start and finish it with an oracle card. Because that gives it a whole other flavor usually. It's a whole nother depth of it. I love to watch them being used together. I think it's fascinating, although it's way too much busyness for me right at this point.
I've been to a few fairs where I would have a reading done by someone who would use multiple decks, and one of those decks would definitely be an oracle deck, and
it adds a whole other flavor to it.
I mean, honestly, personally, I don't think people who use oracle decks are in any way, shape, or form inferior or simpler.
Good save.
I will say that people who use cat decks are inferior and
Oh,
That was all from you.
You're gonna get it now.
Well, I mean, they're cats. I mean,
Oh.
if you were to refer someone to starting out on an Oracle deck path. Yeah, just gonna keep on questioning you. We haven't heard from you in like the first 3 episodes, so now questions are coming directly at you. If you were going to refer
Oh, I got something going directly at you too, my friend.
This is a dagger I see before me. If you were to refer somebody to an Oracle deck to get started, a place to begin, what would you? Is there a personal deck that you would have them get started on?
My personal deck, they do not make anymore, that I've been using for a long time. There's still a lot of stigma around Oracle and Tarot, and I would say if you're just starting out, I think the Oracle cards are a little easier to start out with because they don't look as, the artwork on them is more, I don't want to say soft, but it's, you know, on mine I have pictures of fairies, and on the other deck it's pictures of dragons. Tarot cards can be a little frightening, some of the decks to look at. For an Oracle, I would say whatever they like or that intrigues them.
All right.
Whether it's cats
Cats.
and a cat deck, if that's what they feel drawn to, then start with that.
All right. And how about spreads for an Oracle deck? What would that look like?
Well, I vary my spreads, and I know I have several Oracle readers that are friends. They also vary it up. Where you use the triangle, I know you also do 3-card spreads. I started with 3-card just to get the feel of it. And then for a long time while I was learning, I'd pull 2 cards for myself a day and get to know those really well. That was the way I addressed it. And I think it was a good way for me to start and to learn it.
All right. So do we have any final thoughts on this ever-loving controversy? I'm getting, what is those? What kind of look is that? Ouch. So do we have any final thoughts at all on that?
I think any kind of reader is just as important as the next reader, whether it's Oracle, whether it's runes, whether it's tarot, whether it's regular playing cards. I think we all have a gift and we all should use it, because essentially what we're doing is helping people, and I think that's what the world needs a little bit more. That's my final thought.
I agree completely. And I will say, you need to keep in mind all that card deck is for, it is a tool. It is a gateway. It could even be your liminal space. It's just a tool. And it opens up different doorways in your mind. There's nothing to fight about. It's just what works best for you. You know, it could be throwing bones, throwing ruins, throwing marbles, for all I know. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's just, if that tool, if that Oracle deck or that Tarot deck or that set of bones, if that's what speaks to you and opens up your mind so that you're more intuitively in sync with the universe, your higher self, your God, whatever you want, whatever is personal to you, then use it. It's not hurting anyone by doing that. I think you need to have fun with it and not take it so serious.
Bravo. That's nice. Nice. I would just follow that up with be kind. Just be kind. We're all trying to get through this together, so
Enjoy yourself.
that's right.
Enjoy your friends. Practice, get together, have a little party. Read each other.
There you go. All right. Well, coming up next time, we will have Poppets. So,
Yay!
see you next time. Unless you're a cat person.